just an absolute blast. And, that all comes about because Gilray knew he'd made a mistake, knew he'd run into some traffic that he probably shouldn't have been trying to head in there when he didn't have anybody, didn't have enough guys with him, right? Didn't have the support. But he makes this really heads up play to just boot the ball over and at least a goal. And that's such a smart play. And he pops up and even sets a couple of picks here as part of it. So, all right. So here, this is a beautiful play by Gilray where, Josh Burns, so dangerous, comes in and you can see how well he's matching Burns' movements. He's aware of what's going on. He's had a look, and he just catches it. I actually love that pause right there because you can see the stick being bent back by the force of Burns' shot. And then Gilray controls this ball, takes off up the floor. Really nice touch to maintain that. That is hard when somebody shoots into your stick like that. He comes up, gets to Corey Highfield, who doesn't manage to get a shot on net. But, in Corey Highfield's first game back in a while, so it's good to see him back on the floor. But, yeah, Gilray just really moving well, and I think the awareness that he can go up after that, and there's some luck involved when the ball winds up in your stick like that, but he recovers so well, doesn't lose it. I mean, it's so easy to have that ball pop back out of the stick, and you can see the way he just kind of accepts the ball and has such soft hands for a big strong guy. It's quite a play, and it's the kind of thing that they're in a tie game where ton of goals in the first half, and here you are 3 minutes into the second and nobody's scored and you're creating a good scoring chance. So it's that's the kind of play that can really turn a game around. It didn't in this particular instance, but it can, and he makes a bunch of those every game. I said before the season, we do our picks on IL Indoor where you can go and check out all our coverage, best in the game, and we predicted our award winners for the end of the year. And we all picked Zach Currier to be transition player of the year. And I said, but if it's not Currier, keep your eye on Gilray because he was really stepping up last year. He's been a grety player since he came into the league, since before he came into the league. There's a reason he was picked third overall. And it actually, as we're setting another one up, in this particular game, Buffalo and Rochester, of course, Buffalo took Gilray third, then Ian McKay fourth. And that to me is a fascinating discussion to say, if you could pick one of them now, who would you take?
That's a very tough. It's always funny to look back at draft picks like that, and then you look at like the random trades, just like I was thinking the other day that Q and Walker trade. When they first did that, I was looking at it like, oh boy, Q is definitely one of Albany's best offensive talents. But then you look at just the way that, Coach Clark saw the way it was it was almost like he had a crystal ball that he just shook and was like, I think I know what we're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a roll of the dice. And I know he felt like, hey, how much worse could they have been? They were, one of the lowest scoring teams in the league with Q and Joe Resetarits and, a lot of high powered guys. But, Andrew Q, certainly a dynamic player, but Ethan Walker, there was something there. There was something there when Georgia took him. I think he actually may have wound up being underdrafted a bit just because he didn't get a chance to play a lot. And actually interestingly enough, all of that kind of circles back a bit to another trade in Major Series Lacrosse when the Peterborough Lakers, whose jersey I'm wearing today, an old Lakers shirt, I've been wearing different jerseys for these, repping my hometown, but the Lakers traded for Mark Matthews. And there was a lot of excitement in Peterborough, like, oh my gosh, we're bringing in Mark Matthews. I got him from Brooklyn. I remember being in the dressing room for the Borough Boys. It's my old guys league that I play in, and all the guys were like, oh, it's so great. We have Mark Matthews coming in. And I'll tell you, the one guy I was like, yeah, there's a lot of depth on that side already. The one guy who was not happy was like, I don't think it's that great. Was Mike Walker, Ethan's dad. He was like, where's my kid going to play? That was the year he was finally going to get a chance to play more. And you bring in Matthews, and the Lakers already had Holden Katoni, Corey Small, Turner Evans. There was one more like big time player.
How about
there you go.
Like the players you just listed? Wow, did Clark have a weekend?
Yeah.
I mean, Clark had a phenomenal weekend, and then Matthews was part of that trade for Mans to go to Saskatchewan. And Mans has been doing, he's definitely, I think, the brightest spot in Saskatchewan's, not such a good start to the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Saskatchewan's doing okay. I think they're pretty close. I think they'll be all right. Frankie Chiliano getting sorted out, and him and the defense The defense was terrible in their opener against Halifax, but there are a lot of good players and they've got good coaching. They're going to be solid. And they've really come together. They just had a bad game. I thought it was a really bad game. I really thought they played badly. It was weird seeing some of those guys like chasing around in the zone like they normally wouldn't be doing. But I think they've played pretty well since then. The one huge win, obviously, that was the Vegas win, was it?
Yeah.
And then I think Saskatchewan's going to be pretty competitive. So
yeah, and Vegas beating San Diego, that was crazy. But now
one of the reasons I'll say that I wore the Lakers jersey today is because there's a bunch of Lakers on both of these teams. But yeah, so you can see right there, Dylan Robinson getting up high on Gilray. He's going to knock him down.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a shot that comes in, and actually, you put an instant karma, it hits Robinson. The shot that comes up right after this is going to hit Robinson in the face. And Gilray, now it's interesting when you see the other angle, Gilray has no idea what's happened to Robinson. You can see from this angle that Gilray just gets out of the way, and that's why it hits Robinson. You feel badly for Robinson, although you kind of, like they said, karma kind of brought that on with some of his plays. But that's a great play by Gilray. Just go get that ball. He's immediately after that ball. Whatever's happening behind him is irrelevant for him at that point, right? He's just going to make this play. It's a beautiful goal, especially for a defensive player. He will stay up and play some O shifts on occasion, both for Rochester and for Peterborough, actually. So, but yeah, I mean, and you can see the helmet and mask ringing around on Robinson's head. So hopefully he's okay, because I know he's had injury troubles and he's a heck of a player. He is going to be a key factor on defense for the United States at the World Championships this year, I think. He and his two brothers are both part of the mix there. So
yeah, no, they're huge. And speaking of Team USA, the cursed brother that plays for Las Vegas, clipping through that game on Friday. Wow, is defensively, I think Team USA is going to be better. It almost seems like they'll be better defensively than offensively, at least with the guys that I know that are on the team.
The defense is really going to be good. I mean, you look at guys like Ryan Tarafenko and TJ Comizio. There's some really good talent, plus some of the holdovers. I mean, if Greg Downing keeps playing, I would think he'd be part of that. There's a bunch of talent on there, but I mean, offensively, like just look at the right side where you've got, if Tom Schreiber's healthy, which I would imagine he would be by then, you got Schreiber, Reza Territz, Jack Hanna, Joey Spallina, are four of the guys, and there's others that would certainly be in the mix for that team. Like it's a ton. An absolute ton of talent they've got. And it's really probably unprecedented how much NLL talent they're going to have available. They're going to be cutting guys that would have been core players of their team very recently.
Yeah, no, I think there's been a huge surge in American box players. We're getting a lot more leagues in the United States. I think you're starting to see us catching up. And like you said before, we have the athletes. It's just they don't have the basically the box lacrosse IQ. And I think that is starting to catch up a lot faster than I think some people were expecting.
Yeah, there's actually a play on the weekend that I don't think we have clipped, but just where the ball gets thrown down. Somebody, it's an empty net late in the Toronto-Halifax game, and somebody throws the ball down the length of the floor, I guess, and a shot at the empty net. Ryan Tarafenko runs back after it, and it goes through the crease. And it's with Gilray, because there's a bunch of stuff about Gilray, but I want to go to that Tarafenko one.
Yeah.
So gets himself in a bit of trouble here, going into three guys, and winds up losing the ball right here. And then kicks it back because he knows a teammate is there. They get it, and it creates this the opportunity for the goal that Connor Fields scores on a rip on the near side. You'll see Fields just waiting to get it here, and he's going to get a nice little pick from Mitch Ogilvie.
Yeah, that was a rocket. Yeah, and then the absolute rocket from Connor Fields. And actually, when you look back, so I was watching it, he's trying to go in. That's Priolo, Buchanan, and who is he? 20.
That's Justin Martin.
Yeah.
21, right?
Yeah, Martin. So, yeah, I mean, he was definitely going, I don't know what he was expecting, but like you said, a beautiful save to kick the ball back, though.
Yeah. And then Ryan Lansbury, who I'm a big fan. I've always have been, and I think he is exploding. I mean, he didn't score any goals in that game, but he had 6 assists, and he was terrific. We're not done with Gilray, though, right? Where it's the Gilray show. So Gilray doing it both ends. We've seen a fair bit in the offensive end, actually, but he is, of course, a D-Tranny player, and That's where he really makes his difference. He is a solid defensive player, and he just makes this. Is this the pickoff?
That's what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah. There's also there's a great loose ball that he gets. I think we got 2 more clips we're going to look at quickly. But yeah, he does so much for them all over the floor. And it's interesting because I mentioned, who do you take, Gilray or McKay, who are the 3 and 4 picks? I don't think you can lose in that scenario. Yeah. I mean, Ian McKay's a fantastic player. Takes face-offs. He can play D. McKay's probably a little better going up and playing offense if you need him to than Gilray is, although Gilray's absolutely serviceable as a forward. In terms of overall defense, I'd probably lean towards Gilray. I've seen a ton of him, and he is really tough defensively. In transition, I mean, Gilray's really McKay is like lightning. He's so quick. But Gilray, when he gets moving, it's unbelievable how fast he is for a big man. They're both good finishers in transition. I mean, I'd take either one any day.
You definitely make it out, great either way. And actually, we talked about this, but the defense from Baptiste there, you really saw in a couple of those highlights on Friday night where his defense compared to, the defense of Nardella and Withers definitely kind of cost, it cost the team. And that's where I always wonder, it's like, how important is that face-off guy? Because even watching those games, he might win a majority of the face-offs, but Baptiste didn't win any of those crucial face-offs, like the momentum face-offs. You score, you're trying to stop a run. It seemed like I was really impressed with, it was Vegas, right? So Kurst took a few, and who was
Cole, Zach Cole.
Yeah, Zach Cole, and they both I thought did.
He's a face-off guy. He's a field face-off guy.
Yeah, no, and I just was really impressed because even when they don't, they might not necessarily win the face-off, but they both are playing such good defense that Baptiste doesn't get a clean run in.
So Burns going to come in from the boards, and watch this catch. The soft hands that you have to have, like as we said, there's some luck involved in making that catch, but I think we actually already looked at this one, didn't we?
We did. I just realized that when it was going. No, it's good.
Still,
We've
nice
definitely
play.
got it.
Like
Beautiful play. He grabs it and goes.
There you go. Late in the game, a minute and a half to go in the fourth quarter. It's a 15-13 game at this point. Buffalo's pulled ahead. Rochester trying to do what they can to get some last opportunities and get a chance to go and get a goal and get within one and even it up. And there's a battle along the boards where Gilray is up against his summer teammate, Kyle Buchanan, who is an absolute loose ball wizard. There's a reason he's always on the ball team, always taken out there for faceoffs, because he is amazing at getting possession. He's like a Zach Curry or Reed Bowering type as a forward in terms of getting them. And you can see they're battling along the boards. I don't know if this is the beginning or if we can go back a few seconds.
Yeah, I can go back a few seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a beautiful, the way he sucks his hip right inside there and just boom, levels him right against it. He's off balance and he picks it up and goes.
A little physicality to knock Buchanan down, which allows him that opportunity to get position. But there's a lot that happens to get this ball to give them a chance. And those are, when people talk about the little things the guys do, that's what we're talking about, is the little things like positioning, and coming away with this and off you go to create an opportunity.
Yeah, that was beautiful. But I mean, you got to love Buchanan too, killing time, making him take a while instead of just giving him the clean rebound.
Oh, Bucky's a beauty. He is a tough guy to play against. Such a master of getting loose balls off of face-offs. One of the top forwards in the league over the years at loose balls, and just gritty and absolutely battling in there against a guy substantially bigger. I mean, everyone's bigger than Kyle Buchanan, right? So he's got that to deal with, and he deals with it amazingly well. He was a 6th round pick, Kyle Buchanan, by would have been the Washington Stealth, I think, at that point. I'm trying to remember what year it was that he went and where they were in their process. But yeah, he was a 6th round pick and actually turned into a beauty, obviously. And I think that was 2012, if I recall correctly, because I'm going to work on a story about the 2012 draft, because we all accept 2015 was the draft, right? The one that came out, Lyle Thompson, Graham Hossick, Jesse King, Wesley Berg, Chad Tutton, Randy Stotts, and there were plenty more. I mean, that's incredible. You look at the 2012 draft, and I'm going to do this in some depth, and there was an amazing amount of talent that's had great careers in the NLL since then. So one thing with Dane Smith is everyone knows what a great scorer he is. You know, three of the four highest scoring seasons in NLL history. Just an amazing facilitator. He's on pace to have 108 assists this season, which would not even break his record by that much. It's incredible how this guy has been just cranking up the assist record. He's still a great goal scorer. He's only got a few this year. We're going to see plenty more, I'm sure. But the other part of it, I mean, I think most people remember, he started off in the NLL playing defense. He was a D-transition player for a couple of years with Buffalo, scored a bunch of points in D-transition, but then it was after he went to forward. Obviously, his numbers really took off. But he can still play. He can go back and play D, not a problem for the Bandits. They ran him on the penalty kill, at the top of the penalty kill. I think it may have been Tom Schreiber in Toronto. They put up on the penalty kill first to create shorthanded chances, and then it was a natural to put Dane Smith up there. He is deadly, you know, with his speed and his skill and his defensive acumen. So then he had a couple of plays in the first quarter, I think, of this Buffalo Rochester game where he created second chance opportunities by just forecheck pressure, diligent, smart, athletic forecheck pressure that caused 8-second counts in 2 cases to get possession back for the Bandits and create scoring chances. I don't know if they scored. I don't recall if they scored on either of them, but man, Dane Smith brings an awful lot to the table all over the floor. I want to talk about this goal that we're going to see Kyle Waters score. You see Lansbury gives it to him and just a ton of room. Lansbury keeps creeping down, pops back up, gets to Waters. All this space, and Waters is like, I'm going to shoot. He wound up with 4 goals. That's a gorgeous shot. Those deep bouncers, the bouncer way out in front of the crease. It's a nice pass, too, by McConvey right through the middle of the penalty kill.
That is a very brave pass going across the middle, though, because you can see all the Buffalo. So 3 of the 4 Bandit sticks are in that passing lane, and he feeds it through it.
Yeah, and you're going through Nick Weiss and Steve Friolo on the far side, 2 of the better guys in the league at disrupting people's offensive. I mean, the near side guys, Justin Martin and Matt Spanger, don't have as much chance because they're closer to the pass. They don't have the time to react, but feeding that through, that's amazing. And then Lansbury again steps down, draws everybody over to him, and helps create that space for Waters up top. And he just before that, he'd had a chance very similar where he didn't take the shot. And you can see he's like, okay, I got this room. I'm just going to try it. That ball bounces just past the rear foot of Nick Weiss. Look how far out this ball hits the turf.
Yeah, it's before Spanger. It's already on its way up. It's like just on the other side of Spanger. That is a very well played shot.
You're seeing a great play here by the Rochester Lansbury. Takes a pretty solid check, but gets a little pick here from Waters and spins off it beautifully. Love this touch pass by Ryan Smith. Those 3 work so well together. And it's a great opportunity for Lansbury getting off to his offside. But what a save by the 8-time goalie of the year, Matt Vince. Such a perfect positional play by Vince, and then throwing up the shoulder athletically. We know what an athlete Vince is. He's so smart, and he makes this just robbery of Lansbury, who had a play earlier where he scored a goal and it was waved off because of a crease violation. And or actually, I think it was the 30-second clock. And it was pretty clearly after the 30. It was absolutely the right call. But Lansbury was so excited when he got that one because he has been a little bit snake bit. And this one, he gets absolutely robbed by Vince. And actually, if you keep it running, it leads to a goal at the other end by Ian McKay on a really good play. As they cut there, he's going to get this back on the give and go. A little pick from Cloutier, a little drag across, and goes back the other way and fires that one home. And there's McKay having a huge impact on the game. We talked about how, do you take him or Gilray? Obviously, the answer is either one. Because there's Gilray standing beside it. It's, which of those you guys do you want? I don't know. They're both really good. If you go and watch Dallas Elliott on Facebook and Instagram and that, he talks about different saves that you make. He'll show examples of from his career of how you make saves. And, the gear was so much smaller then, but the principles are very similar. And you can see Matt Vince cracking across with Lanchbury and being so aware of where the danger spots are and just taking it away.
And actually, I was really surprised with how well Rochester's defense played against Buffalo, though, for parts of it, but mainly Hutchcraft. He made a bunch of saves that I wasn't real. I thought this game could have been worse, I
It
guess.
could have. It could have. And I mean, Rochester could have gotten further ahead when they had some leads and had some opportunities, and Vince and the Buffalo defense made a difference. There were some really good defensive plays and goaltending, given that it was a game with 28 goals in it, and 20 in the first half, which is stunning. And I mean, neither goalie was on their top of their form in the first half, obviously, giving up 20 goals between them. But no, Riley Hutchcraft's a good goaltender. I think, they said it. I think I think Brendan McDaniels, the color commentator, said, Mike Hazen had said before the season, hey, we have two goalies that we believe in. And usually when a coach says that, it means you don't have any goalie that you really believe in. But I think they really do. Like Rylan Hartley is one of the up and coming stars in the league, and Riley Hutchcraft, he's been serving his time, paying his dues, and he's shown that he can play in this league and play at a high level, make some amazing saves, very smart, very works very hard, and he's been just dying for an opportunity to show what he can do, and I think he's done it.
Yeah, he's definitely found his opportunity. And this was the other one. I think this is you were talking about Vince. I like to talk about Vince as being a cheat code, but here he shuts down Waters at the beginning. And this was a beautiful pickoff.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you just see, boom, and there's another one. There's another one.
That's the one on Lanchbury on the far side. He's in the little Kyle Buchanan position, because Buchanan is probably the best in the league at being on his offside for the backdoor quick stick, which is so hard. I mean, regular side quick stick is hard on your other side, and Lanchbury is a great opportunity, but this save by Vince, coming across, and you can see how long he keeps looking at Waters and still is able to get across, because if he goes early, Waters is looking at that near post. He's just hanging there on the near side. Now the ball goes, his head leads, the foot lead then takes over, and the stick comes across, and then comes up with a loose ball. I mean, that's masterful goaltending.
Yeah, that was a crazy save. I watched that one like 3 or 4 times as he slides across. Ball actually rolled back up his his midsection and ends up falling out just on that backside hip. Yeah, there's a reason he has 150 wins, and I did not realize the amount of records that Matt Vince holds and how far away he is from some of these other guys. Like the minutes played in some of this, when you're looking through there, you're like, oh my goodness, these are like, some of these appear to be insurmountable numbers.
Well, you look at the wins with 150 wins. I think it was Adam Levy, actually, my colleague at Isle Indoor, who pointed out that you could take the total wins of the 7th and 8th or 8th and 9th goalies on the list, because Dylan Ward is climbing up there as well. You could add those together, and they don't match Matt Vince's win total. It's more. He's got more than double both of the like number 8 and 9 on the list, which is incredible to be double guys who are also in the top 10 all-time wins list. It's mind-boggling. You kind of, I find, I mean, you almost have to stop thinking about that and just appreciate what he still is and forget about everything he's done, because it's incredible that he's 41 years old, and still playing the way he is.
Yeah.
Remarkable athlete.
269 games played too, which is he's 6th in that list. But when you look through there and you're looking at the goalies, I don't see any other.
No, you won't. So we're going to see a trio of goals here from Jack Hanna. And he really shows the diversity of his game. This one, the swim move, absolutely fantastic. That's a little NCBS on NCBS violence. That's Peyton Rosanka, who played for the San Diego Royals. Jack Hanna was an absolute star in the NCBS, the Collegiate Box Series. And what a fantastic move. And then here, he's got Trevor Baptiste, another NCBS alum, on him, and you can see the movement, and Baptiste just can't stay with him. And the third one is going to be a lovely outside shot. But one thing I think you've got to be aware, if you're San Diego, I think you need to try to make sure that you don't have guys like Rosanka and Baptiste being one-on-one up against Jack Hanna. He's just too dynamic, and that Rosanka is very new to the league. He's just kind of working his way in. He's only played a few games. He's not ready to deal with that kind of thing. I know they're all American players, but Hanna, he just creates himself that room for himself going in. And the next one, I mean, you can see when Baptiste is trying to cover him here, that Baptiste just can't stick with him. Trevor Baptiste is a great face-off guy, but he's not a high caliber NLL defender at this point. And I think he's got a great motor, ton of heart, but I just think isolating those guys with Hannah is asking for trouble, and that turned out to be obviously pretty critical in what most of us, I think, outside of the Desert Dogs dressing room, think was a pretty big upset.
Yes, I would have to imagine everybody, with the exception of the Desert Dogs, would think that's a pretty big upset. And actually, when you watch that Colorado game the next night, they played like they thought that was an upset. It seemed like they had a chip on their shoulder.
So we were talking about American players for the pool for the 2024 World Championships. You can see this either just icing the ball or a shot down the floor at the empty net. Here's Ryan Terefenko racing down, using his speed. Watch this play. Sees that the ball is in the crease. He can't pick that ball up and then step into the crease. That's a back in. So he waits until he has time to get into the crease. Then he's allowed to pick it up right here. He can't pick it up right now and then step in. He turns the ball over. He waits. He scoops it up. That little hesitation, that thought process has to be so quick. And that is something that is really impressive to see from an American player who's only been playing box lacrosse for a few years. And that it's becoming so instinctive. And he's going to be a big part of that U.S. team for the 2024 Worlds. It's a pretty big digression from one play by Ryan Terefenko.
Yeah.
But no, that's it. I don't envy you trying to edit this down to a reasonable length, and it's always fun to sit here and go through some of these highlights. And I really there's lots of great highlights to see on the NLL's putting out, doing such a good job getting them out on Twitter/X and getting the highlights available, putting the full games up on YouTube. So, people can go and see what's going on. But I really love to dive into some of these things that you clip for us that you might not see in the highlights because it's not, something that doesn't lead to a goal for him, but is a fantastic play. I like to see it. I like to say, hey, look at this thing. Look at this, what this guy does. The Terefenko play at the end there. I just thought it just really showed a huge demonstration of how his lacrosse IQ and lacrosse instincts have evolved quick to make that split-second smart play in a stressful situation. You're losing a game late in the game. You have to race down, hope it's not going to go in the net. And then all you want to do is get that ball and take off, and to have the presence of mind to be like, oh, I'm going to wait till my feet are in. It'd be so easy to make a mistake there and give up the ball. And
there's no way I wouldn't have at least knocked it before I went behind the crease, and then I'd have definitely grabbed it and stepped through. They would have set in the crease and given the ball to. Not that I can even run that fast, so I never would have been down there.
I was going to say it'd be going through the crease and on his way back out, and I'd still be at about center, running down. I mean, Terefenko's unbelievably fast. What an athlete!
Absolutely, I love it. All right, well,
thanks, man.
Thank
Always
you.
Great.